The swing plane is extremely important to maximize distance and accuracy, but what defines it? The swing plane is essentially the path of your golf swing, but let's be more specific. There are two parallel lines. One line goes through the ball, to the target, and back to infinity. This is the sweet spot line of your golf club. The other line is where the line goes through the shaft and enters the ground. This is the plane line or the baseline of your plane. Most people refer to both as the target line for simplicity. Whenever the shaft is below parallel to the ground, my shaft points at that yellow line, which defines the baseline. And then whenever the shaft is parallel to the ground, now my shaft is parallel to that line or that baseline. When my shaft is above parallel, now the butt of my club points at that yellow line or baseline, and then I go to the top, and here again I'm parallel. If I were to go past parallel, a la John Daly, for example, it would appear that I'm across the line, but I'm actually still pointed at the plane line on the other side. If I were to continue, I would stay on that plane, ideally the whole time. Of course, I don't. As I come back down, the butt of the club points at the plane line again, and then when my shaft is parallel to the ground, it's parallel to my plane line. And as I reach impact, of course, there it is. The sweet spot is right where the blue line is, and my shaft points at the yellow line. As I go to the follow through, the shaft points at the yellow line on the other side, and then it's parallel, and then it's pointed at the plane line again on this side until I come up to that classic spiral finish at the very end. This is what defines the swing plane. Just like different pitches of rooftops, swings can have different steepness. For example, Jack Nicklaus and Johnny Miller, they had very steep swing planes. And then you had the legendary Ben Hogan with his flatter swing plane. And then recently we had the Bryson DeChambeau stand taller, bring his hands up, and use the term zero shift, where there was no shifting and stayed on a continuous plane. Most of the tour players today are pretty neutral. There's very little shift at all. But you can be sure that they're on plane through the hitting zone. Even a Jim Furyk, who may be super off plane, but you can be sure that when he comes back down from release point through the hitting area to the follow through, he looks identical with all the tour pros out there. They're on plane. So let's draw some lines with our live view golf camera. The first line will be through the shaft and about through our belt buckle for proper posture. I like to use the color red for the basic plane. The next line will be my plane angle variation, or the shift from this basic plane as I continue on the backswing. For some, that shift may be more pronounced than others. For some, there may be very little, if any, shift at all, like in a zero shift. So as I swing to the top, I find out where my hands are at the top of my backswing, and I draw another line from the butt of the grip to the plane line or baseline. This is the amount of shift that I have in my backswing. On the downswing, I want to fall within this pie shape between the red and the green lines. If you want to be even more technical, you could draw another line, perhaps blue, between the red and the green line, yet still pointing at your plane line. So while you are transitioning back down, you are following a similar plane. Using the live view golf camera, you can monitor your swing plane with repetition and acquire a feel for your proper swing plane. In turn, you will increase your distance and accuracy and begin to enjoy the feeling of being on plane or in a kind of groove. Enjoy the repetition and try to get an awareness of what it means to be on plane. Whenever I asked Ben Doyle how he was doing in the morning, he'd always reply, "I'm on plane." You too can be on plane.